Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to each and everyone. I'm Fahmie Hadjibasher. I'm going to discuss my assigned report entitled as Shipping Machine and its Operation. The shipping machine, there are 7 subtopics. Number 1 is principle of operation of the shipping machine. Number 2 is types of shipper. Number 3 is construction of the shipper. Number 4 is mechanism in a shipper, and number 5 is shipper operation, and number 6 is how to specify a shipper, and 7 is introduction to planer. Principle of shipper. Let's go on to principle of operation of the shipping machine. Shipping machine is used for generating flat surfaces and single point tool reciprocate on the job, and job is fed across the tool, and tool is moved downward after compilation of cross feed, and the length of stroke and position stroke can be changed. Let's go off type of shipper. Types of shipper, there are 4 kinds. Number 1 is horizontal shipper. Ram is horizontal, and there are two kinds of horizontal shipper. A is push cut type. It is cutting action in outward stroke. And number 2 is pull cut type. It is cutting action in inward stroke. And number 2 is vertical shipper. Vertical shipper is ram is vertical machine is similar to a slaughter. And number 3 is mechanical shipper. Ram drive is hydraulic. These are the construction of shipper. Construction of shipper is there are many parts. Hand wheel for vertical tool slide, ram locking nut, clapper box, screw for clamping, bistable, cross rod, and hand wheel. And there are the picture of construction of shippers, and it is a clapper box. Clapper box help to avoid damage to machine surface during the return stroke of full. And details of column. Details of column is there are 3 kinds. Column is of cast iron. Number 2 is it has guide waist for ram and table. Number 3 is all other parts are mounted on the column. And details ram. These are the picture of details ram. Details ram is hand wheel for tool motion, ram locking nut. And details of ram drive. These are the parts of details of ram drives: link edge to ram, ball gear, adjustable crank, pinion drive for gear, and ball gear. And quick return mechanism. Quick return mechanism, there are 5 kinds. Shipper cut only in one stroke. Forward stroke, other stroke is idle. Cutting stroke is lower than the idle return stroke. Angle covered by the rank is more in cutting stroke, hence more time for cutting, typical values or cutting stroke. In 2200 and return stroke to 1400. Ball gear rotates at uniform speed, but ram speed is varying. Pipe is by changing the length of crank, ram stroke can be changed. So, quick return mechanism is sharper cut only in one strike stroke, forward stroke. Other stroke is idle. Cutting stroke is lower than the idle return stroke. Angle covered by the crank is more in cutting stroke, hence more time for cutting, typical values are cutting stroke. And also 2200 and return stroke 1400. Number 4 is ball gear rotated at uniform speed, but ram speed is varying. Number 5 is by changing the length of the crank ram stroke can be changed. Operating parameter. Cutting velocity is 2 average forward velocity. Cutting speed is 2 and 1/2 north race, where length of the stroke should be more than length of cut, and ln rotation speed of bull gear. RPMs are stroke ratio cutting time within feed. Setting the tools. Tool every hang should be minimum. Tool should be clamp property with adequate support. So there are the picture of setting the tool. Slide and tool have excessive overthink. And setting the stroke length. Max stroke length depends on the machine, 18 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches, and etc. Stroke length can be adjusted to a value less than maximum stroke length depend on the length of job. Let's go on to setting the position of stroke. Position of stroke is the starting point and end point of stroke. Correct position or ram stroke, correct length of ram stroke. And position of workpiece. Workpiece should be mounted to machine maximum length in one stroke. And shaper operation step in making a black square and parallel. Number 1 is remove all dirt and burrs from the workpiece and vise. Number 2 is vise choose should be perpendicular to the line of motion of ram. Tools should be vertical, and 4 is set the workpiece in the vise with parallel blocks at the bottom. 5 is all cutting force should be against the fixed jaw of the vise. Number 6 is machine the side. 1 it is the surface having the largest area. Machine side 2 wedge side and wrestling against the fixed jaw. Machine side 3 opposite to side 2 with side 1 resting against the fixed jaw. Machine side 4 opposite to side 1, and then machine the 2 edges side 5 and 6. Machining a block sequence of operation, and these are the pictures. And making chucky, these are the picture of making chucky and making a V block. Tool slide is titled at an angle or V block. Making an extreme keyway. So these are the picture of making an external keyway. And making dovetail. These are the picture of making dovetail. And making of a rack. So these are the picture of making of this rack, and also making of an internal keyway, and machining a contour. Workpiece of mid marking. These are the picture of workpiece with marking and workpiece after machining. And shaper machine as specification. The length of ram stroke 457 mm, 18 inches. Range of ram speed 12, 24, 40, and 70 stroke per minute. Working surface of table for 483 mm and 330 mm max. Table travel horizontal 610 mm max. Table travel vertical 457 mm. Angular movement of table on either side 600. Maximum size of tools. Shank in feet 51 meter, 21 mm maximum. Vertical travel of tool slide 152 mm maximum. Swivel of tool head, and main drive motor 3. And the last one is planing machine. Planing machine tools. It is a tools are stationary at a point while cutting. Tool feed is given after completing one stroke. Table reciprocates used for larger size of jobs, less accurate than shapers. So these are the topic of shaping machine.